Hey, so I've actually tried recording this a few times, and first time I did it all on the Insta360, and I just couldn't edit it. I didn't like the sound or anything like that. So pretty much what I'm going to do a walkthrough of all of our plants. We've been here for about 9 months, and a lot has changed already, but I figure I should do a video before everything changes more with stuff we've added and things. So it looks like I have an umbrella here. It's the Insta360, so it's going to be another video of the same thing, but you can like look around instead of me just showing you specific things. So one of the things we really liked was these Creighton myrtles. We have like a whole row of them, and they're just a really pretty flower that it's a bush that can grow pretty much into a tree. People use them for hedges and stuff like that. And they have a whole row of them here. Now I gotta hop this fence. This is our driveway, but we have the cows in our yard supposedly eating our grass. They're not doing a very quick job at it, but that's why there's a fence across our driveway. So when we moved in, we knew that there was blueberry plants on the property, and I thought it was these. Now these are called huckleberry or farkleberry, and we have a ton of them. But we found out that's not actually the blueberry plants that the guy who sold it to us was actually talking about, because we have a few bushes right along the driveway here, which are actually normal high bush blueberries. And then there's a little trail going along there that Gabriel made, and there's a whole bunch of blueberry bushes there too, but they don't get enough sun, so I might end up transplanting them this winter and putting them by the driveway with these. So we have this blueberry plant here, about 7 feet tall, and another one right there. Then I planted 2 more in front. Now those probably all together we got maybe like a gallon of blueberries this year, and hopefully by transplanting some we'll get a bunch more next year. Along the driveway here are all Bradford pears. Now the Bradford pears, if you see here, that tiny little pea-sized pear is all they bear fruit. So pretty much what they are is just an ornamental tree for the flowers. But Gabriel and I actually got seeds from a local pear that's really good fruit, and grew about, I think probably about 30. So we're gonna try grafting onto these, some of the fruit-bearing branches, but also just plant some of them too. This tree here is a really cool tree. It's called the mimosa tree, and it has these like Whoville type flowers. Plus it has some really cool just leaves too, almost like fern leaves or something. So there's a few of them on the property, but this one's the biggest one. We've also planted a couple of grapevines. There's some wild grapes on the property too, but we wanted a couple of different kinds of grapes, so those are just starting out. It's another mimosa tree here. And along here is a whole bunch of bamboo. It's called like river cane. It's not really building bamboo. It only gets about maybe 7 feet tall or so. But the cows actually love eating it, and it's a perennial. Obviously, it's a grass, but also it's an evergreen. So it will keep its leaves in the winter, which is great for a barrier for our neighbors, but also some green grass, type green grass for the cows to eat. When we first moved in, one of Grace's friends gave us this elderberry bush, and we found out that elderberries are supposed to have at least 2 in order to actually have elderberries. But once we got the bush, I actually found that we had probably, I don't know, 10 or so elderberries on the property. So I moved another one over there. But there's a couple more things right in this area. When we moved in, it was just becoming fall. So a lot of the things were just losing their leaves, and we didn't really know until spring and summer that what we actually had. And this tree here, it's already done bearing fruit, but it is a mulberry tree. And mulberry trees, I learned a bit about them since we've gotten here. It's one of the things that I wanted on the property. And then we found out that that one was one. And then now I've been looking around, and we probably found a good 20 or so on the property. And they can grow up to like 30 or 40 feet tall. Given the right conditions, they can live over 100 years. So they're a really cool tree to have. I'm actually going to be doing a whole bunch of cuttings and make little bushes of them so that they're easier to get the fruit, because the fruit tastes so good. I had never had it before, and super excited about having a whole bunch more next year, hopefully, now that we know where they are and when they actually have their fruit. Mostly, so Gabriel made this trail, and mostly on it is just all the native stuff. Right here is something called a beautyberry bush, and it's another one of those things that I found out are all over the property. So you can make some different things like the elderberries. You don't just normally eat them, but you can make them into syrups or jellies, that type of thing. And that's exciting that we have so many. This section we don't have for any of our animals in particular. It's kind of just like a wooded section. This trail is kind of the perimeter of our property. So over there is not our property, but it's like 7 acres of something that no one's doing anything with at this point. So, which is kind of cool. It's just some extra woods near us. And then over here is just some undeveloped woods, which we're going to kind of leave as is. But there's a whole bunch of beautyberries and mulberries I found over there. And all along the trail, we'll also find like this little bush here is another blueberry bush. And I think we're going to just leave these ones on the side as is, because we'll see as we clear out some more stuff, they might get more sun, and it's a lot of work to move all the blueberry bushes over. So besides this section of forest, we've been kind of transforming the rest of our property into pasture for the cows, but for the same reason, making kind of like a fruit forest. So we're going to be planting the pear trees, the mulberry trees. We've gotten some Arctic kiwis from a friend. Oh, and Chickasaw plums. We've gotten some of those that we're going to be planting. And so those are all new things we're going to be putting in the fields. And I got to find a good way to make it so the cows don't eat the baby trees. Once they're taller than the cows, and the cows aren't very big, about 42 inches. I think Sparky's our tallest, and that's how tall he is. Once we have them taller than that, it's not going to be a big deal, but getting them to that height is the tricky part, because the cows will eat a lot of the trees and stuff. Some of them. We have some persimmons, which persimmons make, spiderweb. Persimmons make these orange fruit in the fall. After it loses its leaves, it has all these orange fruit on it, and we have a whole bunch of them through here. They're all small. So in that whole area, it was completely forested when we came in. We've actually been clearing all of that and making these fences along the edge. That's been a major part of the last few months. And the a lot of the big trees were already kind of dying. And I believe it's because someone, maybe within the last 5 years or so, had goats on the property, and the goats just ate all the bark around the tree, which will end up killing everything above that. So I think a lot of the persimmons and even a lot of mulberries have died because of that reason. But we have some massive oak trees. You look up there, that I just love on the property. That's something that take so many years to grow, and it's so cool that we actually have them. So I started doing some research of North Carolina to see what type of trees do grow here, and something that came up was the pawpaws. It's supposed to be like a custard textured, somewhere between a pear and, I don't know, people describe it in a lot of weird ways, and only fruits for about 2 weeks. So unless you live around here, a lot of people have never had it. But I was looking it up, and at the same time I saw this tree that has humongous leaves, and found out that it is the pawpaw tree. So we have about, I don't know, 20 or so little ones. But once again, it needs to have 2 separate trees to make a pawpaw. And they will actually grow from their roots, new trees. And the issue with that is if it grows from its roots, it will be considered the same tree. I think, well, it looks like the 360 camera is not going to go for the rest of the time. So it doesn't look like I'm holding an umbrella anymore. But I'll keep walking through here. So where was I? Oh yeah, with the pawpaws. And we found a bunch more. But I don't know if they're from seeds or if they're all from the same root system. So we actually went and bought 1 extra pawpaw so that at least we have one that's a different genetic strain, and we'll be able to have pawpaws at some point. They make their flowers before they even put any leaves on. So we don't know if these ones did this spring or not. And they are red flowers that look like, supposedly kind of look like meat. They're pollinated by flies who think it's meat. So the flies check it out and then pollinate the different flowers. So we have some muscadine grapes, which is a native grape here. But then this is actually called a summer grape. And it's supposed to be a really sweet grape. So we'll see if we get any from that. Here we have some more bamboo. And it seems to be a different type. I'm hoping it's a type that's called golden bamboo. It can grow a lot bigger, and it's a little bit harder, and it has yellow quality to it. But I think that's a really nice, like, you can build stuff with it. And like I said, it's a lot longer. So we'll see. It doesn't seem to be the same. And then all along this area is the same kind. It's some pretty tall stuff too. There's one over here that's already like 8 feet tall. And the other stuff, like I said, I haven't really seen much over 7 feet. So I'm hoping that that is what it is. So we're getting out of the corner of our woods area, which is also going to be still woods because the cows do like woods, but thinned out so that some more grass grows for them. Now we only have the 5 cows right now. Oh, this is that one stalk. See how tall it is? It's pretty tall. And I think it's not the same stuff. Now here we have all these blackberries, but recently a lot of this stuff under the power lines all died at the same time. And I think a plane or helicopter or something came by and actually sprayed this area so they don't have to come and mow it to keep all the trees down and stuff, which is a little concerning for me, to know that they're like just spraying chemicals and crap all over my property. But I have to look up to see what's actually going on. Over in, we call it the third pasture, I actually found something called a maypop. And I was super excited about it because, see if I can find one here. Also found some over here. I transplanted a bunch of them because we want it by our outside garden eventually. It's a vine, and it's the it's also called the Arctic passion fruit, and it's going to make these incredible flowers. I've been seeing them around while I'm working, and it will also make an actual passion fruit. This is just a specific strain. Oh, here's some. So there's one of them here. This looks like some bugs started eating this, but they're called maypops because they mostly pop up in May and they die out in the winter and they come back from their roots. So that's kind of cool. That's something that I looked up, found out was in North Carolina, and then actually found out it was here. So that's pretty cool to find that on your property already. So these power lines area was already kind of cleared, but we've had to cut it down several times so that what's growing is not like brush and stuff, it's actually grass. And we still have a long ways to go, but it is coming along pretty nice. We have a lot of grass growing, and the cows really like this pasture. So I have them off of it right now because, like I said, I have them in our front lawn trying to get that, because I'd rather have them eat my front lawn than have to actually go and mow it all the time, which we don't even own a mower anyway, so that would be a problem. Right here is a large elderberry, and here's some of the ripe ones. I'm gonna come and pick these, but it's cool, you can just snap off the end and then bring all this inside and deal with it there. And this was a big mulberry tree that got killed, like I said, probably from some goats, but it's coming back from like a sucker. So I'm gonna let this grow and see what happens. And this was my largest persimmons that I've seen that was growing, and this definitely got eaten around, except for this one area here. So this is growing back, like I said, like a sucker, and I want to just see if that will grow on its own, and possibly, since it's more mature, because it was a tree, it will bear fruit quicker. I'm not really sure. We have a whole bunch of other ones that are growing that are babies, but and then all these little piles here are some pear trees that Gabriel and I planted. We'll see how they go. Some of them are doing better than others, but I think the cows started eating that. So like I said, I got to figure out a good way to make it so the cows don't eat my trees, because I want to, you know, get them a lot of good stuff, but at the same time don't want them to eat it all. Here I actually got some golden bamboo, and I got it started, and it shot up these tiny things first, which doesn't look anything like the golden bamboo, but I think what it is like they just shoot up these so that they can build up energy in their rhizomes, and then they'll eventually just shoot up a big one. And I have to have this big contraption here because I want a big section of golden bamboo in the middle of the pasture, and then everything that spreads past that for the cows to eat. But if I just left it as is, they would just eat those and then they would never grow. So that's the hope. then at some point I'll probably do a video on all of our animals too, sort of like this, but just to walk through those. But those are kind of in flux right now anyway. We're always getting new ones, seeing which ones we want, which ones are working good for the farm, and all that. So it's easier to do the plants right now. But here's some more of those big oak trees. And this is the area that we're gonna have as our outdoor kitchen eventually, which will be super cool. But over here is where I found the first maypops. And also we have some more. So this was a dead tree, but it's a mulberry that's growing from it again. So I want to see if I can keep that alive. Another mulberry here. And these are all persimmons here. This here. I don't know what all this black is that's been on them lately. It's been really dry, and then we had a whole bunch of rain all of a sudden. Maybe something about the shock of that. But this is that first maypop that I found. And I found one other one in the field, so I transplanted that one and the ones from the other field, because we're going to put them all hopefully around our outdoor kitchen area. And those also, you want to have two separate genetically diverse breeds, and they'll grow from roots. So once again, all the ones I got from the other field could be the same. I'm not really sure. So I want to make sure they have separate ones next to each other. And that's about it. We have a whole bunch of stuff going on. Like, we have a couple of big raised beds here that are going to be for herbs. We have a main garden all the way out in the front that has our vegetables and stuff. But mostly I've been working on perennials. Here's all the herbs here. Oh, it looks like these little caterpillars just love the dill. Those are kind of cool looking. I'll have to find out what those turn into sometime. But that's just all an herb bed. Another persimmons. And here's our cows in the front yard. But so that's the main fruit and plants that we have growing on here. And we're going to be adding a whole bunch of fruit trees, and like I said, cultivating a lot of, I'll show you the fruit trees actually, the pears that we have. So I was going to bring Cypher on the run, the walk with me, but he would have taken forever. But he loves being out on the run. At least he can be outside with the rest of the animals and stuff. So Gabriel and I grew all these from seed, and we're going to hopefully see how they do. And these are some Chickasaw plums that we're going to be planting once I put up another fence. We bought these two, and I got a cutting from someone and started that one. So, and then these are the kiwis that we're going to be growing. These are all maypops. So we'll see how they go. It's interesting how much you can just do from cuttings and stuff. I mean, a lot of them end up dying, but if you're just cutting a plant like for pruning anyway, you might as well try just regrowing it. So it's a pretty big learning curve for us, but hopefully next time we do an update, we'll have all kinds of new pastures and new fruit trees hopefully growing.